Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. And definitely the cold winter conditions will continue. And we're going to start to see a little bit more in the way of snowfall, especially for next week. But we do have a system that will be moving in for late tonight into tomorrow. And that could bring us 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. I think inland areas probably an inch or two. Could be some gusty winds, and it's going to be occurring tomorrow morning. So there could be some school issues with some of those gusty winds with this cold front, Arctic front that's going to be moving in. So we could have some blowing and drifting snow, cold wind chills out ahead of this system. And again, it's not going to be a big system, but there could be enough of all the combination of factors that could bring some delays to some of the area schools. And then boys are going to get cold later this week. I think for Friday and Saturday mornings, I think lows will be 5 to 15 below. If the European's right, it would even put some temperatures between 10 and 20 degrees below zero. That would be the actual air temperature. And again, Saturday's record here in Breckenridge is 8.3 degrees below zero, and that could very well be in jeopardy. I think there's a good chance that record falls. And again, we have to watch for the potential on Friday that we could see wind chills in that 20 to 30 degrees below zero with actual air temperatures perhaps down around 10 below zero. So very interesting week coming up. And you can see the December month ended up at minus 3.8 degrees below normal, very cold. And we had about 162% of the normal snowfall, I believe. And I got a slide on that coming up. So really a December to remember, very cold and actually very snowy. You can see temperatures out there this morning, mainly in the teens, down to as low as 4 or 5 degrees down in southeast lower Michigan, where they don't have any influence off Lake Michigan this morning, with the winds kind of coming out of the west now. And again, we'll see these temperatures get up into the teens the next couple of days, but boy, we are going to go right down into the deep freeze here as we get towards the second half of the week. And then again, I think as we get late in the weekend, we'll see moderating temperatures all the way up into the mid to upper 20s. But we're going to begin to see, I think, a little bit more in the way of potential snowfall, especially beginning late this weekend and through the upcoming couple of weeks. I think we're going to add to our snowpack. If we look at the cold temperatures we've seen so far here in the stretch of December, this is the total amount of sub-zero temperatures we had all of last winter, not just December, but the entire winter. Only a couple locations dropping below zero. And look at this year, all the way up to 8 days below zero at St. Thomas, 6 at Clarksville, 6 at Newaygo, 5 at Marlette, and several other places with 3 and 4. So very, very, very cold December, and we're going to continue to see that cold weather right on into the weekend, at least through Saturday, and then we'll begin to moderate somewhat. But we're going to continue to be in a cold pattern, but we're going to be in a little bit above normal moisture pattern, so we're going to add snow depth. And speaking of snow depth, and you can see in the orange, that's our snow depth, right about 4 inches has been pretty consistent here for the last week or so. With all these cold temperatures, nothing really melting. Anything in the green indicates days where we had snowfall. And then the blue graph is the temperature, the minimum temperature on a daily basis. And we'll track that all winter long. As we get into the late winter, early spring, we'll certainly watch for temperatures as they begin to warm up, and then maybe some harsh weather that could cause some issues with wheat. If we look at the snowfall again, we're at 15.1 inches of snow so far for the season. That's 37% of the entire winter's normal, so we're getting there. We're a little bit ahead of pace, and you can see 162.8% of normal for the month of December, where we saw 14.7 inches of snow. Normally we get 9 inches of snow, and we're coming up on our snowiest month here in January, and we'll see how that pans out. And if we look at the radar, you can see what's going to be the snow that comes with the cold front. And that cold front's going to come sweeping through the area again late tonight and tomorrow. And I think all areas will pick up at least some snow, anywhere from maybe a ½ inch, an inch, to as much as 3 inches in the inland areas. And then lake effect kicks in and will give a lot of snow to much of the Michigan snow belt and over into southwest Ontario. In fact, over here around the London or just north of the London area, in that area, you can see a whole lot of snow coming up over the next couple of weeks here with all the bitterly cold air coming this way as we get into late week into the weekend. And if we look at the weather map by tomorrow morning, that Arctic front now coming across the state, and again out ahead of that front, I think we'll see a solid line of snow from 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches in some areas. I think a good bet for at least an inch and a half of snow. There'll be some gusty winds, and as this is coming in during the morning hours, again, it could cause some issues with some area schools. And if we get into the weather map on Thursday, that system well off to the east, a very powerful Arctic cold high pressure system is going to be settling into the area. And as this high pressure system moves overhead, as we get into Friday morning and Saturday morning, you'll see the coldest temperatures with calm conditions, fresh snow cover, and light winds. We'll see some really good, excellent radiational cooling take place. And again, Friday morning, Saturday morning, we could see some of the coldest. Well, those will probably be the coldest days we see all year across the Great Lakes. And if we look at precipitation over the next 72 hours, not a lot, but anywhere from maybe 5/100ths of an inch to maybe 1/10 of an inch, and at 25 to 30 or more snowfall ratios, that could mean about an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches in some areas. So again, I think all areas will see at least some snow. And if we look at the over the next 7 days, you can see up to a ½ inch of snow at 20 to 1, 10 to 1 would be 5 inches. So 5 to possibly as much as 10 inches here over the next week. And we can see that on the, this is the 72-hour WPC snowfall map, again, showing that minor amounts. And again, I think these are at 10 to 1, so I think there's a chance we could see about double that snow. So most areas will get at least a fresh coating. And over the next 10 days, according to the GFS, you can see a lot of snowfall across the Great Lakes. And that does fit the pattern as we begin to see a more active jet stream and still plenty of cold air around. You can see over the next 6 to 10 days, again, a good chance of cold air for much of the northern U.S. and northeastern U.S. and much of the nation will see above normal precipitation. So that should equal at least a decent chance we'll see more in the way of snowfall. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll see our snowpack really increase, I think, across the Great Lakes. As far as the forecast goes today, you can see not too bad, finally getting up into the teens, but boy, we hit cold as that Arctic front comes through. We really go into the deep freeze, and this will be the coldest air of the year, and we can see temperatures maybe even colder than this, but right now we'll look for about 8 to 12 degrees below zero on Thursday or Friday morning, and then for Saturday morning, overnight Friday, I think we'll see temperatures dropping into the teens below zero in some areas. It wouldn't shock me if somebody across the area sees temperatures possibly getting down to 20 degrees below zero, and then we'll warm up a little bit for Saturday, and then a better chance of snow showers move in for Sunday and Monday. Temperatures could climb in the mid-20s to possibly close to 30 degrees, and that'll certainly feel welcome. As far as weather watch this morning, you can see all the cold air across much of the Midwest and the Great Lakes area with these wind chill advisories and even some wind chill warnings with temperatures 20 to 40 degrees below zero. Winter weather advisories across the western shores of Lake Michigan and across much of Lake Superior. And again, we'll see more in the way of these. In fact, I think we could see some winter storm warnings in some of these counties here as we go through the next 48 hours as that Arctic front really begins to kick up the lake effect again. Again, most areas will see at least a fresh coating of snow to possibly as much as a couple of inches across the area. Thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day, a great rest of your work week, and 73s to all.